What happens now? That's the question at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, where a plan to eliminate some majors in the humanities has resulted in controversy. Last month, UWSP announced it was planning to drop majors in 13 humanities programs like English, history, philosophy, and foreign languages, but add or expand 16 other career-focused majors school leaders felt were more in demand by students and employers. The backlash was swift and drew national attention. Students even led a sit-in to protest. The university recently said it would ask a task force to write a second proposal to address its fiscal challenges. We're talking more about this now with UWSP Chancellor Bernie Patterson, who is at our Madison affiliate, WKOW-TV. Chancellor, thanks very much for being with us. And let me begin by asking where you are in this process. How likely is it that the changes you proposed several weeks ago will actually be implemented?
We're very early in the process. On March the 5th, we released a proposal, and it's only that, a proposal. And now a group within our shared governance from our Common Council is looking at alternative possibilities. A third group out of our Student Government Association is doing the same. We expect to hear from both of those groups by the end of the semester, but still we'll be working through the summer and into the fall. So there's plenty of time for dialogue, conversation. That's why we started this as early as we did. We don't expect any decisions to go to the Board of Regents until fall semester.
You mentioned the different groups there. Will each group's work carry the same weight with university leadership?
I would think so. What I hope to do is to find the really good ideas in all of the proposals that we hear. Thus far, what we've heard is don't do this and don't do that, but there haven't been very many suggestions on what to do. And no action is frankly not a choice.
I'm going to give you a chance to make the case here. Why does change have to come to UW-Stevens Point?
Well, it was a financial and enrollment situation that brought us to this point, for sure. When we look at enrollment, it's down some 16% in the last 7 years, FTE enrollment, that is. That's because of a number of factors, demographics that we're now becoming keenly aware of. Also more competition. The economy is stronger, so when it is, people tend to go to work rather than school. But there's some good news in this as well. We think about 2/3 of our enrollment loss is a result of a very significant increase in our graduation rate. We're up 12 points from what we were just a few years ago. That means students are graduating faster. There are fewer seniors, fewer juniors, and fewer sophomores. That means they're going to work sooner. They're paying taxes. They're paying back their student loans. They're contributing to the workforce, and they're moving out of mom and dad's basement. This is good news for everyone, except it has a pretty devastating impact on the bottom line.
Chancellor, how convinced are you that if you make some of the changes that were originally discussed, if you add and expand more career-focused majors, as you call them, how confident are you that this will actually boost enrollment, that there are students currently not attending school today who now will suddenly say, hey, they have different majors, I'm going to go to UWSP?
Well, of course, there are no guarantees in anything that we do. And things worth doing often have some risk associated with them. But what we do know is that some of the majors that we're talking about do not draw very many students to the university in the first place. But there are other reasons for looking at this change as well. The budget is down. We only have about 15% of our budget now comes from the state. Over the last 15 years, the UW system has been cut almost $500 million, or somewhere north of $500 million actually. And so there's those issues as well. And then we have the 6-year tuition freeze that had tuition increased only at the rate of inflation. We would have $7 million more in revenue than we do today. So there's lots of things that led us to this point. And we're trying to analyze the market and identify those programs that would most likely draw more students to the university, and that's the list that you've been referring to.
Are you worried, Chancellor, at all that we end up chasing the so-called hot job, that 10 years from now some of the career-focused majors you're talking about may not be so relevant, that our world changes so quickly that it's tough to keep pace with that?
Well, Mike, you're right. The world does change quickly, and many of the jobs that our students will be filling in their careers do not even exist today. But I think it's a misnomer to conclude that the more career-oriented majors do not also prepare students for a variety of opportunities that will come their way. No one discipline has a monopoly on creative thinking or critical thinking or working in groups or teaching students to communicate. We want all of our majors to do that, and we will certainly continue to offer the liberal arts and humanities courses that we do today. About 80% of those we expect to continue.
That gets to kind of my next question. You've heard this criticism. It's come from faculty members, from national critics who've been watching this. They'll say something to the effect, how can you be a four-year university without a major, for example, in history? What do you say to people who make that criticism?
Well, I've heard that remark as well, but when you look at what's offered across the university system of Wisconsin, we see already that there are 4 comprehensive universities, putting aside Madison and Milwaukee, that do not offer a major in philosophy. There are 5 that do not offer a major in geoscience. There are 3 that do not offer a major in sociology, and there are 4 that do not offer Spanish, and 5 that do not offer German or French. It would not be correct to conclude that all the other universities in the system are all offering all of these degrees.
You talked, Chancellor, about the fiscal realities your institution faces, a lot of UW institutions face. One of the questions that's been asked is, can you make guarantees that, for example, faculty won't be laid off at some point in order to live within the financial realities that you face?
No, we certainly can't make promises or guarantees. But if all of the recommendations of this proposal are accepted and approved, we do not expect that we'll have to lay off tenured faculty in all of these areas. There's been a number of retirements and people who moved on to other opportunities. And so many of this might be handled through that kind of attrition rather than layoffs. But could there possibly be some layoffs in some of these areas? Well, for sure there could be.
Final question, Chancellor. I've got about 40 seconds left here. You've been the subject of a lot of attention recently. Your university has gotten a lot of national media coverage. How do you feel about what's been said about UWSP?
Well, sometimes the information has been misinterpreted. Sometimes it has been less than accurate. But the fact that we're having this conversation, the fact that the campus is now truly engaged in what we can become in the future has been a huge advantage, I think. We have more faculty and staff participation now than we've ever had in looking to and shaping the future, and I think that's a good thing.
Chancellor Bernie Patterson is the Chancellor at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. We appreciate your time today. Thanks very much for being with us.
You're most welcome.